Welcome to Courageous Conviction. Remember that Jeff and I record each Saturday 5 episodes. So please hit the like button, subscribe so you catch all 5 episodes. We usually start out with one theme or topic. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes to really understand it. Some things are more sensitive than others right now, what's going on in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe, and let's jump into this video.
Forgotten by some of our members is an underlying principle of the church welfare plan that, quote, no true Latter-day Saint will, while physically able, voluntarily shift from himself the burden of his own support.
Okay, let's fast forward 1 year. Here we get Elder Tom Perry talking about the issue, getting pretty fired up about it. So again, this is 1981. April session of General Conference, so he's going to give some data from the 70s. I'll share some recent data that I have come across in recent years, but for context, he's talking about fast offering and dependence, giving commodities and assistance to the Latter-day Saints of what was happening in the years prior to when he gave the statement. So here's Elder Perry.
You will note that our rate of annual increase for the period of 1970 to 1978 in total fast offering assistance was 15%. When we had a little upset in our economy, the rate last year jumped to 32.5%. We look even worse if we examine total commodity assistance. For the period 1970 to 1978, the annual rate of increase in commodity assistance was 11.3. Last year, the rate was a disastrous 53.5. A little dip in the economy found the membership without oil in their lamps. Immediately, it was necessary for those not adequately prepared to turn to the church for assistance. The results indicate the training of families in the basic principles of self-reliance and independence over the past years has not been as effective as it should have been. With such alarming results, we must remind ourselves that the church welfare system was never designed or intended to care for the healthy member who, as the result of his poor management or lack of preparation, has found himself in difficulty. It was designed to assist the membership in case of a large physical disaster, such as an earthquake or a flood. It was designed to assist the ill, the injured, the incapacitated, and rehabilitate them back to a productive life. In far too many cases, members who should be making use of their own preparedness provisions are finding that there is nothing there, and they have to turn to the church. It is time to ask ourselves what has created the problem of placing such a heavy burden on the church to supply our welfare needs. My analysis to this problem would lead me to believe that as leaders, we have spent far too much time in administering relief and far too little time in prevention by having our families prepared to administer to their own needs. It is time to teach the basics again. It is time to make our number one priority of our welfare efforts personal and family preparedness.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about that because I know bishops that have spoken to me and in my conversation with my mother this morning too. And during the lockdown issue, in my position, I was able to talk with a lot of the 70. They're all encouraging the members to come to the bishop's storehouse. In fact, my stake president here apparently was overheard commenting yesterday at the temple that people came with vouchers for the food and they didn't have enough food to give the people the vouchers. The bishops are just giving away these food vouchers, right? They're handing it out. And my bishop has come to me and said, hey, we can help you with food assistance. We can do these things. I said, I am perfectly capable of doing it myself. I'm physically fit. I'm healthy. I'm not that old. I can go out and do it myself. Yeah, we just moved back from Latin America. Yeah, things are difficult right now, but I can start a business and go out and do it myself. And we're going to have to learn how to make it happen and budget ourselves. And we did that. And we had a real rough year. It really was a rough year for us until recently. Now we're finally, the year and a half, finally getting to the point now where we're more stable. My point being, 3 times that I can recall, my bishop came to me and said, hey, here's the vouchers. You can just go and get food and to help you out. That's what it's there for. And I said to him, it is not there for that, Bishop. You need to quit handing out tithe funds, if you will, or tithe commodities to people that can actually sustain themselves. We are creating this codependent society in the church. And that's part of the division we have today. Now, this is an issue because it also leads us to becoming codependent, forms a bad habit. And we then become codependent on the government as well. If we understand what's coming politically, if we understand what's coming economically, what the World Economic Forum, so forth, had their agenda is coming at us. We understand what they want to do in controlling all food production. I don't know if you're paying attention to all the farmland and so forth that's being overtaken. It's being the inability to have even small farms and even large gardens. And in certain circumstances, like in Oregon, certain circumstances, people have large gardens, and if they have paved roads to them and so forth, they now are to cease and desist. They even want all chickens now, because of the bird flu, chickens to also be categorized. I'm trying to think of the word in English. It's rastreado in Spanish, but they want them to be categorized so they can track them. You chickens die every day. You kill a chicken, right? It's like now you have to report every time that chicken dies, or you sell it, you eat a chicken, you got to report that to the government. The idea is, though, that they're trying to take food production from the people and make it a government only area of production. They want us codependent. And when we practice these things going to the government, which our current manual states that we turn to the government, but then I had to explain to you by 70 in my stake president that really brought it out to me a lot. When do we turn to the government? And that's only in a time of crisis, like the church welfare program. We have a major earthquake and it devastates us and all of our food storage is destroyed. Then we need to go to a government temporal housing and use that to help rebuild ourselves for however long that might be, right? That's where the government would step in. And that's where the church would step in. And those are the areas where the church welfare program is set up. Also, you can have somebody, a car accident or an illness or something like that, and they're unable to provide for themselves. Then they are given that program. And I think that's something we need to, I was going to go into something else, but I want to stay with this. It's something we need to keep in mind, that it hasn't changed. Even though our current leadership is giving that impression, our leaders right now, our local leaders especially, but even some of our general leaders that we are looking towards in this area are not clarifying and leaving it very much a confused topic. And the church tithe funds are just being given out. We become a welfare church. And that's not what the Lord had intended. We are to become independent and self-reliant. My elders quorum president showed up at my house recently. We have a water issue. Our well went dry. But I'm able to figure out a way. I go down, I get water every morning, I bring it back, we boil it. I'm working on taking this whole year, going through the political process of getting all the permits, so forth, to actually hook into our water district. But I can do that. They came and said, hey, we want to help out and do these things. And well, why would you do that? Why would you waste your resources when I can do it myself and my family can do it ourselves too? Now, I understand brotherly love and so forth coming to help out. That's great. But I don't want this individual. This wasn't even the church. There's an individual coming to offer his help and financial help to even move things along, because it's going to be very costly for us. And so we're saving up for it. We got a loan for it and so forth. So we got it done. But I was able to work it out myself. And I said, we got it. I appreciate it. Thank you. We got it. He said to me, Eric, if I called you, I know for sure that you would come run and help me. I said, yeah, Dan, I would, because I know that you wouldn't call me unless you absolutely exhausted all your own resources and you needed help. Vice versa. Continue on, Walter. Let's go ahead with the video.
More of our members will be able to draw from their own preparedness and not have to seek for the assistance of the church.
Okay, and then just a few years later, President Monson, in the Ensign, in the first presidency message, said that recent surveys of church members have shown a serious erosion in the number of families who have a year's supply of necessities. Most members plan to do it. Too few have begun. And so heavily during the 80s, but in years prior and years since, we've been hearing this message about a year's supply, about food storage being prepared. Then in 2007, the First Presidency released a tiny little, if you can even call it a pamphlet, called All is Safely Gathered In. And they have a little First Presidency message in there where they say, our Heavenly Father created this beautiful earth with all its abundance for our benefit and use. His purpose is to provide for our needs as we walk in faith and obedience. He has lovingly commanded us to prepare every needful thing so that, should adversity come, we may care for ourselves and our neighbors and support bishops as they care for others. Now, one thing I've loved about this statement ever since it's been given in 2007, and I've shared this statement a lot. I think I'm on either my third or my fourth time being called as the Ward Emergency Preparedness Specialist or Self-Reliant Specialist. I think it's my fourth now. I just got this calling again a couple months ago. And so ever since this pamphlet came out in 2007, I've shared that quote because it's so easy to think of preparedness as this kind of selfish, self-centered type of thing, right? This is our family's survival. This is, we only need to store what we need and ignore everybody else and everything else happening around us. But I like how this statement redirects our focus a little bit, right? Should adversity come.
I thank you for being with us on Courageous Conviction. Remember, there's 5 episodes each week that we put out. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes, so stay with us, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and don't miss tomorrow's episode on Courageous Conviction.